Hey guys, this is Joe with Dino Repo. Raising Rexes today for boss battles. And I just wanted to show you guys how it's done, just how I do it. And cooking our eggs down and all to about maybe 1 or 2% left. And here's the first hatch. There we go. Luckily no twins. Though it does save eggs if you do get them. Triplets you can even get as well. It's just a chance. I think it's a low chance, but it can happen. This is a female. And as soon as they hatch, you want to pump them full of meat. You want to disable the wandering. You also want to whistle wide, keep them from following you if possible. So you can keep an eye on them. You don't drown or anything crazy like that, even though we will be floating these. Also want to name your Rexes so you can keep up with them. And when you go into their inventory, just do F12 and take a screenshot so you can upload to Steam. You'll have the name. Later you can use it for breeding purposes. I got that one topped off on meat, so I'm going to park it over there. And after a little bit of waiting, we got another one to hatch. Just kind of skip the name like last time and just name it when you get time. You get freed up. Just having to go in between both of these little Rexes and just making sure their food is topped off. They start out with about 4 meat. That's all they can hold. These are high levels, so they don't really have the food bug. Food bug is when you get like a low level baby like a Trudon or something, and they just won't eat. Their consumption window is just greater than their actual food value, so they don't eat. So you have to kind of force feed those. So floating is recommended with doing those to ease the burden of force feeding. Here's the third one, and we're doing 8 total today. Again, name them something and take a screenshot of those stats. So happens I got pretty much this, I think I got like 2 or 3 females this time, and 1 or 2, this is the male, one of the males right there, hematite. He had the 449.2 melee and 11440 KHP, along with other female, which are from Gen 2. This is Generation 3. This is the 3rd time we've done this. Shout out to Taze. He helps me imprint on these on my account. We're cousins, we're related, we trust each other, we're blood, you know. So, no biggie there. When he gets home from work, he just would check on it to see if they need imprint. And I would handle most of it. It's just, you know, if you're at work or something, he's off. Only one person can imprint on these things, so we just kind of let my character be the one that does that. And you want to watch these things like a hawk, just constantly check their food until they get where they can actually carry their weight in meat. Doing now back and forth between these babies. And whip, although it looks kind of abusive, it is the best way to move them, and it damages them in no way. Even though you do see some blood there. There's 3 lined up. You can see after a while their weight allows them to hold more. This was just starting, so yeah, you have to come and watch him the closest at the current moment. But after about an hour, you know, they got about 2 or 3 stacks on them. And again, upload your images, and after you've named them, something for reference and future breeding purposes. And number 4, we do get twins, you know, we save an egg, and we do. Kind of hectic though, they're really close together, so you just have to be kind of precise with your mouse, pointing to which one and feed them. They're not named, so it's kind of hard, plus you don't really know which one you're hitting when you're hitting F or E or whatever. I always use F because E, even on like just say you got like a vault out side somewhere and you hit E, you risk the chance of unlocking it. So always use F. It's kind of a bug. If you try to access something through like a wall or something, you can. It says like unlock or lock, so I don't use E. I always use F. And just trying to figure out how to get these guys apart, like Siamese twins, and the whip. You know, I'm gonna have to probably pull them apart, but I'll get that sorted out later. Just don't worry about feeding the meat right now. So that's 5 Rexes going, and that's why I only hatch 1 egg at a time, because you don't know if you're going to get twins, triplets, or whatever. And also why I hatch them the time in between them, because you don't know, because you don't want to have to, like an ass load of stuff to upkeep at one time. It's already a headache as it is. But once you get them a little long and you want to hatch more, just go ahead and you can actually do this right off the bat. I just kind of chose to not, just to show you how the hatches go. But it looks like they're drowning when you first put them in, but it's not really nothing to worry about as long as you use a whip. If you pull them with T, you have something to worry about. They can drown. These are like 550 something on their, well, some of them have 700 something on oxygen, but some have 500 something. But it just depends on the parents, I guess. And so there's 555. But yeah, you use T to pull them in. They have a risk of drowning. I've always not had any problems with using whips. It seems to like make them go completely, you know, level on the surface of the water without any risk. But yeah. Anyway, I always use a whip to move them. Just from my experiences, the past 2 times I've done it, had no problems. I'm just trying to get them lined up to go out the door. To constantly whip them to get them to go somewhere. Yeah, 1 more for the tank. Usually try to put about 8 in here, is about all this can really fit. But as when they're babies, you know, you can fit a lot more. But as they grow, they're going to get huge. You can only fit about 8 in the current one I got here. Don't really know the dimensions of this thing. I estimate it to be about probably 10 tiles wide, maybe 8 or 9. Probably more like 8 or 9 tiles wide, and lengthwise, don't really know. But this is the only place I could really build the float. Clint, our old leader, when he kind of turned over the tribe to Taze, this is the only place I could really put a float, because we do have a pier base, and kind of utilize that. We could also utilize this same float for raising sharks or whatever, so it's kind of easy. Just positioning them so I can get to them easy. Their hitbox is still kind of big, even though they're babies. You get kind of stuck on their tail sometimes. I'm back here to get these twins. Well, actually, the only other twin back here. Whipping to get them where you need them to go. It's more precise than T. You can't really overshoot. You'll notice they have a little countdown on them. That's for imprints. And since I have a lot of them, it's kind of hard to get imprints on every single one of them. But let's say it's at 3:20 something. 3 hours, 20 minutes, and odd seconds. But you got to get on in that time, and you either have to feed it kibble, walk it, or cuddle it. Cuddles being the easiest, imprints being like the medium, walking being like the hardest, because sometimes they just won't imprint, and I've had a lot of luck just going way off and hitting T on them. Use a spyglass to be more accurate with your pulls. And sometimes you can just sit here really close and just hit T and Y, and they'll sometimes imprint for some odd reason. It's just kind of buggy on the walks. I hate walks, but yeah, to get these up around, I think the highest one I got was 95%, but that's a lot of imprints on me and Taze on my account. So I of course did the most of them, but yeah, he did a good many as well whenever he could. So gonna raise some more, hatch some more actually, and these are all cooked off in a big batch, you know, and I pulled them all about 2%. But I guess this is baby number 6. And now that we have those in the float, we don't have to worry about their food consumption. They pretty much don't eat hardly anything. It'll fool you. You'll think that they're eating, but it's actually the rate that they're growing, they're able to hold more meat, and that's why you're able to put more meat on them. And when you actually think that they've actually been eating, they have not. It's just that their weight is increasing. Their carrier weight is increasing, and that allows you to put more meat on them. They might eat a piece of meat like every 5 minutes. It's that good as far as consumption. You can float practically anything, but it's really nice to have. I hope it stays in the game, because it's kind of makes sense. I mean, I know it's with mammals, you know, they're like in fluid when they're in the womb, but I don't know about eggs. I guess it is some kind of fluid when they're in there too, so makes sense, you know. But these are the best Rexes we've had so far stat-wise. They all got pretty close to 449.2 melee. I know some of them, I think maybe 1 or 2 got the 10K of the male, but I pretty much perfected my master template male and female Rexes. So I got the 11449, 11440 HP and 449.2 melee every time I breed them now. So here they've hit juvenile, which is at just after 10% maturation, and you can see that they're a great deal bigger than they were. And on a Rex, if you don't have any kind of event weekend, it's 9 hours and 30 minutes, I think, for them to reach this. So you pretty much got to stay online that long. So I start like early Sunday mornings, probably maybe like 5 a.m. you know, and finish up, you know, sometime around maybe mid-evening. And then I don't have to really stay with them. I can put them on the trough, because right now I'm no longer hand feeding them. There's troughs over there and behind that gate, and they're just kind of sitting in there. But that's an example of an imprint with kibble. You go get the kibble out of the fridge, which I leave close by for obvious reasons. Pretty much when the timer goes off, I look at what they want, and if they want a kibble, you know, I just go set a filter on the fridge and pull what I need, put it on my slot 10, jump over there quick as I can, hit E, because every second counts on these imprints, especially with no event weekend. This is an example of a walk, which is the hardest crap to do. You see, I'm just trying to see if I could get lucky and do T and Y. It does take a lot of time, but pretty much you just eventually just have to hit T and just kind of walk backwards and get them up. And you can try doing it again, but the most sure shot way of doing this is to just have them in a good position like this, go way off and hit T, and hopefully they'll come to you, and during that run to you they will get an imprint. You'll see yellow text, you know, I think it's 3 or 4% on a Rex. But as you can see, this one's being difficult, and yep, it takes some time, but I do get it here in a minute. And there we go. Another reason for the whip, you can do a 180 turn. If you do T, you know, if you don't have any gates or anything, they can fly off the edge of your base or go in someplace you don't want them to go. So whip is a more precise way of moving them. And always make sure they're floating. Sometimes there's an illusion that they're not. I've noticed if you go away from them when they're juvenile, and their legs will be like really straight, and you think they're not floating, you think they're standing on the bottom if it's shallow enough, but in reality, if you hit T, wait like maybe 1 or 2 seconds, hit Y, you'll notice that the animation of the floating animation in the water will start playing, and you know for a fact that they're floating, you know. And this float tank that I have, they actually float when they're adults as well, so it's big enough for T-Rexes, but too big for Giga past maybe juvenile. They just won't float. When they get to about the size of a Rex, they just won't float. And they'll just stand in the water, and you got normal eating rates. But yes, it is a madhouse once you get all these things in here and they get really big. Adolescent, that's what they're at now, and they're getting really big and hard to position. But saving you on meat runs is worth it, so you don't have to do as many meat runs. And another key to less food consumption is stay offline all you can. Taze doesn't play that much, only when he gets maybe Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays. So we just log on for imprints. Meat runs are minimal because of the float and the fact that we're staying offline. But even though, keep all my whips in here and stuff to repair, but even though that the food is in the trough out there and you're offline, it's still decaying at the normal rate. It's just the only thing on your side is they're not eating as much, and you're staying out of render distance by staying offline. I believe it helps them in that regard. But I have heard some things about, you know, if you go offline and they're floating, that they'll still eat like they would normal, but I'm not sure on that. They seem to eat, you know, like they would if they were floating. Even if I'm offline, I can go all night logging off, and I have like maybe 4 or 5 troughs, and they will seemingly eat about maybe a trough at most, and that's maybe a course of 7-8 hours, maybe even half a trough. So it's not really clear. I haven't done it enough to really know. If anybody knows, just leave a comment. But adolescent is 50%. Does it hit 50%? About 50.1% they go to adolescent from juvenile. And I always check their oxygen. Super paranoid, you know, you gotta look at their oxygen every now and then. Just for the hell of it. But I think we raise them on Sunday and they're done by maybe Thursday night or Thursday morning. I can't really remember, but yeah, it's time consuming. And I'm actually raising twin gigas right now. They're black, and I think they came out at 184. Not really sure, but just had a event weekend with I think it's like 4X hatching or something. It's the ARC anniversary, and that gave us like a good boost on hatching. So I said, I got this giga egg. I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and do it Sunday morning instead of 28 hours. I think it was only 16. So yeah, it was a good call to just go ahead and do that about 6 in the morning, and finished up at night, you know. And it was a workout, you know, imprinting and getting all the meat before I had to hatch them. But gonna have some better gigas, and I'll do a video on that sometime soon. But yeah, I wish these imprints would be a lot closer together. They're always spread out, but I think this is like my last imprint of that time. At the time I did this, that one, it was like 8 minutes or something. So once you finally get the last imprint, you go take a break or something, log off. You just need to always make sure your troughs are topped off. Again, I run them maybe 5, 6 on these Rexes at all times. Just in case you can't get on. You know how ARC is. Servers will go down, be so laggy you can't do anything. You gotta give yourself some margin for error. And here's all my other shit. Yep, please, you're flying for some reason. And yeah, it's a headache, but it's worth it in the end. I'm actually going to be taking a break from breeding. I've been breeding for like a month straight. And did dragon the other night. And won again. Taze couldn't come though, so we got a little less element. But we hope to start actually hosting from Green Ops sometime. NWS rules red, where we currently do ours, but these guys are a little further now. Actually nearly done. You can see they're getting very large. Almost the adult size. The final size that they get. I didn't really know that an alpha Rex is actually 1.5 times bigger than a normal Rex. Kind of weird. Some of the last imprints, I think one of these, I think it's hematite. I got him to 95%, and it's pretty high. I want to say this is event weekend. I want to say that these are 3% imprint every time. I know it said 4, but I just couldn't remember. I do these videos on a past basis. I record them, then I comment on them later. So if I get my comments wrong, it's because I'm trying to look at my render screen while I'm recording to this. So yeah, I kind of do like Nublitz does. So there you go. And you should check him out if you ever want any how-to guides. He's really good. Nublitz.com. Has some great instructional videos. And the guy's name is Steve. I watch him from time to time on YouTube. And yeah, I named all my Rexes after precious gems and stones and crap. But there's the easiest imprint, the Cuddle, which is, we saved the best for last. I cuddled its butt. But anyway, I wish they were always that easy. I was pulling them out of here as a bitch. And there's our drop. I was planning to do bosses from that. I'm actually thinking about building a platform on the base, putting a tech transmitter, and maybe in the future they may actually implement the ability to do bosses from your base instead of having to haul ass to the obelisk every time. Had to get me a new whip. Broke the other one, whipping so much stuff. Gotta get that Gamma 4 rolling. Everybody wants to walk today. Somebody wants to cuddle with me. There we go. Carbo. Walk. Just kind of have to get a kibble list going in your head when you go to the fridge. Stego. Another walk. Taze tried to do a massive walk at once. It did not go well, he said. I believe it didn't. You kind of have to watch it. I'm kind of superstitious. I like to throw like maybe cooked meat on them if I walk them like a good distance away from the troughs, because you know they don't have any meat on them at this stage. They're just strictly trough ridden. So I just do that in case something crazy happens and they die. But yeah. This is a lot of weaving in and out of Rex's crotches and stuff. It's crazy. When they get this big. How to do the walkers. When they get bigger, it's always something, you know, you get stuck on them and everything. And I need to do something on this side to actually make it easier to walk them. I think I was going to do like another ramp going off perpendicular from the base and just have them run down that, you know. Sometimes they won't whip their tails, mess you up. It's really hard when they get big to actually walk them. I have had them, well, I didn't have these rails up, they would fly off the top over into the sharks. I still got to go up with it a little more. And where that Rex is facing is where I plan to like build a little run, little drag strip to pull them in the future. And I can just 180 whip them instead of using this one. But yes, it's so difficult to get an imprint on walks. Just like it's buggy. I'm getting stuck. There we go. Get the jitters. Yeah, I gotta go imprint gigas here in a little while. I was just got home from work, imprinted them. Then I got on here and started doing my voice editing, voice recording for this video. This was about 4 weeks ago, maybe 3, when I did this. Got lucky on that one. I will give you some spoilers about these Rexes though. Every single one of them, except for one, dies. And it wasn't due to the float. Don't fear the float. It was due to a ORP that they introduced, which is a offline ray protection. A lot of people lost dimetrodons and stuff, anything that was in the water, you know, like naturally that lays eggs. They had them there to lay eggs or whatever. But it really sucked. But yeah, one Rex survived, hematite. He's my 95%, so at least I got, like I said earlier, my master male to go with my female to make the perfect eggs every time. But after that, a lot of complaints were on the forums, and Wildcard opened up the dino restoration thing again. And I actually put a ticket in, and we are supposed to have an actual meeting with one of the devs Wednesday, which is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central Time. And I will probably have some video of that and see if they live up to what they've said they will do. They said they will restore every single one. They can't guarantee stats, but they can guarantee levels. So every level you see here, I'm supposed to get back, except for Hematite. He's the only one that survived. He was up against a wall. But the bug or something caused everything in the water to sink and drown. So all of those of you that had that happen, I feel your pain. But at least Wildcard is making an attempt, and we'll see if they live up to it. Next video may actually be about that, so I'll try to have that up as soon as I can. But I said, what the hey, why not use this to kind of show you how this is done for those of you who are new and want to do this and want to do boss battles. This is the current way we usually do it. And I think we were first showed this method by Clint, who was our founder, our leader, who turned the base over to Taze about a year or so ago. And he pops in every now and then just to see what we've been doing, but he doesn't really play much. Yeah, this is one of the final imprints I did. I logged off, I think it was like maybe 5 a.m. in the morning. Every other batch that I've done, you know, just left them. As soon as they mature, they're still fine, you know. So I log in like 2 hours later and all of them are dead except one, so. Yeah, it's pretty tragic, but nothing you really do. I had no idea they were going to be implementing that. Nobody did, for that matter. I'm sure they got a long list of requests, and we are on the list. Anyway, guys, that's about all. Pretty much, they would have been grown, but that's about it. We'll see you next time, okay? Later.